All right, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to this video. My name is Cara Janelle. As you see by the title, it's called The Cost of the Oil. So when I was driving, I was listening to that song, Alabaster by CC Winans, and it really started making me think. And some people don't really know the cost of the oil. And in that song, she sings like, you weren't there the night Jesus found me. You didn't feel what I felt when he wrapped his loving arms around me. And you don't know the cost of the oil. You don't know the cost of my praise. You don't know the cost of the oil in my alabaster box. And I went on to read in Luke chapter 7 where this story is located. And it was talking about how the woman, Jesus was sitting down to eat with some Pharisees. And this woman came in, and she came in with this box of ointment. And the song Alabaster Box, in particular, when I looked up alabaster, it's like this kind of like a stone. It's something that like statues are made out of. Things are made out of this stone. So the oil is one thing. And then also the box that it in was like this precious box also that she had this oil contained in. And she started, pouring this oil on Jesus, pouring it on his feet and like washing his feet with her tears. Everything that this lady, had, they were calling her a sinner. And some say this lady was a prostitute. And they were saying like, who is this sinner that's coming in, pouring all this on Jesus' feet, kissing his feet and crying on his feet and all these things like that? Like, who is this woman? And they were like, if they really knew what manner of woman this was, if they really knew what kind of woman this was, would he really be letting this happen? Like, this woman is a sinner. But the thing is, she took everything she had, right, and poured it at his feet. It was pouring it on him. And then he goes on to say, like, further in the chapter, those who are forgiven of much, they're loved much. So people don't really be understanding the cost of the oil. They don't really be understanding that the things we really had to give up for God is costly. When you really meet his presence, just like in that song, like you don't know. You weren't there when Jesus found me. You don't know how it felt. Some people they haven't had that experience yet, so they don't know the cost of the oil. They don't know the cost of like, I'll give up anything when it comes to you, Lord. I'll take what's precious unto me and I'll let it go when it comes to you. And it also made me think about Abraham and Isaac. Now, that whole back in Genesis, I think it's in Genesis chapter 22. But through the whole like beginning of the book of Genesis, basically, there was so much talk about Abraham and Sarai and all these things that were going on. But in particular, God had promised Abraham this child. He had promised him this, told him this. And for years, he was like waiting on it, years upon years, waiting on this child to come, to the point that he was like even questioning, like, look, I'm old, Lord. Like, he's saying like, I'm over 100 years old and you're finna give me and my 90-something-year-old wife a baby. Like, what are you talking about here? But he kept the faith. And then God finally blessed him with that child. And then it said in the beginning of the chapter, I think in the first or second voice, it said God did tempt Abraham and he told him to offer Isaac as a sacrifice. This precious gift, not that lady with the ointment was one thing. That was the cost of her oil. Everything that she had from her past, everything that she had done, she was like, look, I'll pour it at your feet, Lord. And I'm going to show you the reverence I have for you, because I'm going to sit here and cry at your feet, wash your feet with my tears, right? Wash your feet with my hair. Like, I'm going to do all this thing. That's one thing. That's a show of the cost of the oil. But the willingness to give up things for God, when you think about Abraham, this is something that God promised him. But he was so trusting in God, so loving in God, that he was like, I'm going to take this precious gift, this child that I love so much, and I will offer him as a sacrifice. But if you know the story, as they were going up to offer the sacrifice, Isaac was like, what's going on here? And where's the burnt offering? Because I don't see any animals that we're about to sacrifice here. And Abraham just told Isaac, like, God will provide. And God ended up providing a sacrifice. And where they offer that sacrifice at, that place is what's called Jehovah Jireh, because it's like, God will provide. But the thing is, sometimes we get in these positions where you have to give up what it is you think you love the most. You have to give up, what it is that really cost you. You don't really know. The people who haven't had this encounter with God, they don't understand the cost of the oil. They think you could just rip and run, and then, when you want God, he's just going to be there. And, sometimes that may be the case. God's a miracle worker, and I'm not saying he's not going to be there, but there comes a time, and you see it many times throughout the Bible, where a sacrifice was required. And I'm not talking always about just like burnt offerings. People were sacrificing, fasting and stuff. But anyway, there's many people in the Bible who had to give up things that were precious unto them, give up things that they really cared about, to show, like, Lord, I'm following you until the wheels fall off. Like, it doesn't matter what you lead me to do, where you want me to go. Like, I'll give up anything for you. I'll give up anything for you. And there's really just like a cost to this oil. So until next time, I'm Janelle. Bye.